As we head into the winter months, there's a lot of people who are probably sitting on the fence. They've been thinking about selling their homes, not sure if now is a good time, or do you wait until the competitive spring market? Well, there's actually some pros and some cons to selling your home in the winter months. We're gonna go over all of that today. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is your realtor, Nick Isgro with eXp Realty, right here in central Maine. Now, as I just said at the beginning, today I want to go over just a few pros and cons if you're thinking about selling your home and you're thinking about maybe doing it during the winter months, because certainly there's a big difference between marketing in the winter and marketing during the spring market time. Now, before I get into that, I do want to welcome you here to the channel. If you've never been here before, we cover all things real estate, particularly right here in central Maine. Now, if that's of interest to you or adds value to your process in the buying or selling of homes, do me a favor, go ahead and hit the like button on this video, hit subscribe, knock that little alarm bell. You'll be notified every time I put out new content. Now, the first thing I want to do is jump right into my first pro to selling your home in the winter months right here in the state of Maine, and that is there's just going to be less competition. Overall, history shows us that people start pulling back as we get through September into October. We get through the fall market and listings tend to go down, particularly as we move towards January and February before ticking back up as we get into the March, April, and May spring market. Particularly this year, it's going to be a little bit more interesting because one of the things you've heard about a lot is that there's inventory is actually increasing on the market. Well, that's true, but it doesn't necessarily mean a lot more competition. Now, inventory has been increasing, but that's not due to new listings. New listings are actually down from the prior year. So we're adding less new listings this year than we were last year as we head into the winter months. The increased inventory, as we've recently covered on another video here on this channel, is due to the fact that there's actually a little bit more time being spent of these homes on the market, so they're sitting a little bit longer, and that market lag time is simply what's creating this increased or inflated inventory numbers because homes are just taking a little bit longer to sell. But overall, not a lot of new listings, less new listings than we've even had the year before. So for buyers that are on the market, the pickings are slim. It's going to be a lot easier in that sense to make your home pop compared to some of the others because there's just not a lot of new inventory coming on the market. Could be a good opportunity to get yourself out there in front of the buyers that are here. Now, what's one of the cons that might go along with it? Well, frankly, as we head into the winter months, it's just a little bit more work to give your home that curb appeal comparatively to the spring. In the spring, typically you do kind of the cleanup once, you get your house refreshed in the front, do a little landscaping, you're kind of good to go. In the winter, it's a little bit more complicated than that. If you think about the snow, shoveling the walkways, making sure that icy walkways have been salted and sanded or melted, and getting your home ready and prepared. You want to make sure that the lights are on because it's going to be getting dark a lot earlier comparatively to in the spring and the summer months when people are out looking at homes, and making sure all your heating systems are working, making sure you have any drafts or weatherproofing that needs to get done ahead of time to make sure that your home really stands out. Now, that's going to lead me right into one of my second pros, which is actually this is a great opportunity for you to highlight the efficiencies of your home, particularly if you have a modern heating system, if your home is really sealed tight, if you have a fireplace or a wood stove or any other kind of heating system that you want to highlight. You can really give your home that warm, cozy, welcome feel. So when people come in out of the cold, there's a much greater contrast and they can really start to see themselves and feel themselves into the space if you do it right. Now, while this might be a great opportunity for you to highlight those heating systems and bring people out of the cold, this time of year, it's gonna be probably a little bit more difficult for you to get out of the house to do showings. Just think about it. In the summertime, you probably don't mind going for a walk around the block. In the middle of a blizzard, you might not feel that way, or sub-zero temperatures here in the state of Maine. Think about the fact that kids are in school, so there's gonna be a lot more homework after school, school night activities, things going on in your life that you might just be a little bit more difficult for you to work your schedule around. And actually, I would say that in this case, you really want to work with your realtor to make sure that your schedule is really understood by the real estate professional that you're working with, because we can put all of those things into the Showtime app that we use to schedule the showings to make it as smooth a process as possible. But at the end of the day, you're still going to have to pack up at times and get out of the house and go drive around in the cold or go for a walk or do whatever it is you have to do. Maybe you got to run to the grocery store, but that would be one of the downsides of selling during this time of year. All right, now kind of the last pro I wanted to highlight, if you are thinking about selling your home during the winter months, one of the great advantages that you might have is that Buyers typically aren't out during the winter months unless they are highly motivated. The buyers that are remaining in the market are people who want to buy houses, whether they are relocating, whether they're having to move on from a lease that they're in right now, or whatever the situation may be. If you're out looking for a home in December, January, and February, you're looking to buy. So that could mean for you, even though we have a little bit longer market times, when it comes time to negotiate, an easier negotiating process, it could mean that you're gonna get kind of the maximum potential on the negotiation, on the price, a quicker contract, and a better close, because these people just wanna buy a home. They're looking to get into the home, as much as it might be intimidating for you to think about moving out of the home during that same time. And that does kind of bring me to my last point on this, and that is one of the cons, which is it might just be not as convenient to move in the middle of winter time. If you think about the days that you gotta spend packing up and you're loading up the moving trucks, you're going in and out of the house, oftentimes that's gonna be happening while there's snow and slush and dirt and salt in your driveway. Just some things that might cause a little extra cleaning on the tail end after you're done moving out of the house. That's obviously something that you're gonna have to deal with moving into the next house that you're going. So just not as convenient of a time to move. But if it is a time that you're looking to move, could work out if you think about all of the other things, and this just happens to be the right time. Now, the last point I want to say on this too, like we can go through all of the pros and cons of moving or not moving, selling your home in the middle of winter. At the end of the day, and I say this I think all the time on here, it really comes down to what's going on in your life. And I think that's a great conversation to have if you're thinking about moving right now. Thinking about having that conversation with your real estate professional to kind of get into the nitty-gritty aspects of it. Talk about where it is you're thinking about moving to. What is your motivation for moving? It might just not be the right time. Spring or summer might be a better time for you. You might not want to deal with all of that extra competition, the extra showings, the hectic schedule that it might cause by waiting for that. It might be a little bit more laid back and a little bit easier process, but really you just want to have that conversation because it really depends on what's going on specifically in your life. Now, if you guys are in the market right now, if you've been thinking about getting into the market, or maybe you've just sold into winter before, or maybe you've had that experience, I'd love to see a comment down below, love to hear your thoughts, your experiences there. Of course, as always, if you're looking for a real estate professional to work with here in the central Maine region, all of my contact information is linked in the post of this video. Would love to hear from you. Reach out to me anytime. Of course, as always, I appreciate each and every one of you for sticking around to the end of this video, and until the next one, I'll see you next time.